So I've had a few people reach out to me and ask me why I deleted my videos off of Instagram and TikTok and moved them to YouTube for now. I should start by saying that this video is not a endorsement for whatever platform this video shows up on or whatever platform you're watching it on. Eventually, I will have my own content on my own website. It will also be available on YouTube as well, unless I do something to um, violate their terms of service agreement in the future. Not that I'm looking to do so, but you never know. Um, However, I think it's been a long time coming. Those of you who have been listening to the podcast have kind of seen me or heard me rather talking about this. I've had videos where I'm putting out that I'm telling you guys, hey, they're taking our voices, they're taking our content, they're treating us like slaves. These companies, these corporations. Um, and I just, in good faith, couldn't continue to contribute to something that I knew was one stripping people of their intellect. Like, like the short form videos where I've posted videos. It's taking away from us. It's destroying collectively our attention to focus for long periods of time. And for a while, I would say, okay, well, I'm just going to post and delete it, but I'm still contributing to a problem that has been a problem and has been affecting our society for a really long time. And I couldn't keep doing it. There's a lot of reasons, by the way. It's not going to be a quick 3-minute video, right, where I'm going to edit it and chop it up. So if you don't have the attention span to listen to my little thesis on why I no longer have my video on these apps, then I suggest you keep watching anyway, because you need to work on your attention span. What are you doing? Keep watching. Stay with me. Stay with me. I wrote a list, so if you see me looking down, it's because I didn't want to forget everything. Yes, there's a list. I didn't just wake up and go like, fuck this app. I mean, I did, but it was like there was like a lot of stuff leading up to it. Some of it I've discussed on previous episodes of my podcast, Your One Black Friend. Some of it I've actually talked about on my YouTube channel as well. But some of it is just things that as I kept playing with it came to me. First and foremost, Instagram and TikTok are not profitable businesses. Neither is Twitter. Okay? Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. The reason why they are nickel and diming creators is because they're not making money, right? What do I mean by that? How are they nickel and diming their creators? Okay, first of all, TikTok played this game where they offered creators, they had this creator funds, and they told people, if you join the creator fund, we will pay you for your content. And what it was a PR stunt. They, yes, paid people, but in the fine print, they they didn't tell you what they were paying you. So a lot of creators are finding that they would create for 2-3 months exclusive, contents, um, content every day. And TikTok was pushing people. You want to put out like 3-4 videos a day. You just want to keep posting. You had people like Gary Vee telling people, just keep posting, just post and post and post. Which, by the way, the reason why it worked for him was because he joined the app at a different time than when he blew up. And so what worked for him wasn't going to work for people who were then joining the app as he was telling people to keep putting out content. It didn't work. He kept saying like, you just have to, game the algorithm, right? He kept saying like, whatever it is that you do, if you try this video, re-edit it and then repost it again, eventually the algorithm, the gods will shine the light on you, and then your video will get kicked up and you get millions of views. And we found out recently this year that there was no algorithm. It was a person. There were people at desks who were choosing which videos would go viral. It wasn't AI. It wasn't this objective thing that did the right thing. That, you know what I mean? That like, I don't even know what we thought, honestly, what we projected onto the great and powerful AI. No, it was just some douchebag in their boxers, probably working from home, just pushing a button. Which is why your videos didn't go viral. It wasn't a matter of how much effort you put into your video. It wasn't a matter of how much time you put into your video. Whatever metrics that they had decided was what they were going to use to push a video in any given point in time. That was what decided, and it was a person pushing a video doing their job. Right. We also found out over the last couple of years that, for example, TikTok, they were suppressing certain videos that were being shown to the American public while pushing other videos, right? So videos that were educational, informative, they would suppress. This is once they started blowing up TikTok. And then videos that like were kind of just stupid, like that showed the worst of Americans, that just were thoughtless, mindless, quick, that would just keep people just blindly doing this. That would be what they would push. And so you saw that. You saw a lot of very creative people complaining that nobody's seeing their stuff. And then they were being told it's just the algorithm, just keep trying. And so people would put hours of their lives creating really unique content, hoping that the algorithm would shine a light on their stuff, and then they would blow up and get millions of followers and millions of likes. And it was just a person. And the thing that bothered me was that you could put in 13 hours of work editing a video, writing a video, filming a video, all of that, creating smooth graphics, all of that, and post it. And let's say your video did go viral. You would get the same amount of views, sometimes less, than like somebody taking a shit in the middle of the street. Or literally like a paper bag just blowing in the wind, or like an egg being cracked, or just something ridiculous. It didn't make any sense. And yet we have been told it's okay, just keep throwing your lives into this empty thing, and then eventually you're going to strike it big and you're going to get a bunch of followers. And the same thing was echoed in Instagram as well, which, by the way, let's talk about followers. I'm going to come back to Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter being broke and what I mean by that. But let's talk about followers and what that means. What helped me delete and I've been slowly deleting my videos off of TikTok, like over the last 6 months. Nobody noticed because what happened is that I had hundreds of videos, but people would only scroll past a certain point. And then there's this expectation that, all right, well, she'll just keep creating new content. So that means that all of this stuff that I had down here was just sitting there. People would not move past a certain point. They wouldn't consume past a certain point. They saw the few preview videos that they did watch that kind of hooked them. They would click a button and then they would just sit there like the fat bastards on WALL-E. Fat bastard. That was a South Park. Was it? No, it wasn't a South Park reference. That's an Austin Powers reference. Fat bastards, get in my belly. I wasn't being sizist or whatever the word is. Sorry, don't cancel me. But yeah, they would just sit there, feed me content. Not that all this stuff that you had created, it didn't exist. It was there. It's just they would just go, oh, this is interesting, and then stop. And then you would do the smart thing as a creator, which is, well, I have all this content. I'm not gonna just let that sit there. Nobody's watching it. So then you would try to repost it. But TikTok would put their little logo all over your shit that they weren't paying you for, or if they were paying you at the time, if you joined their creator fund, it was literally 2 cents per video for 30 days or something ridiculous like that, right? So they would stamp their bullshit watermark on your stuff, on your face, on your content, and claim it as theirs because you clicked I accept. And then if you reposted the video, there was a time when they would suppress your videos, and YouTube would do the same thing, and Instagram would do the same thing if it had that watermark in it. So then you had to go take an extra step to try to figure out a way to take off that watermark. And some people didn't bother with it. They just took the hit, right? So that was what was going on, right? So then people felt, okay, I can't repost old content. I mean, some people still did, but they just, like I said, took the hit. So then they just kept creating. And they were getting all of this noise from people just saying, just keep posting. Just eventually it's going to happen. You're going to keep posting. And all of a sudden, people's lives are still being, because not like this is stop. I'm talking about it like we moved on, like TikTok has now become Vine or whatever. But at the moment of this recording, It's still on unless it gets banned. But right now, TikTok is still live. Although people forget about Vine was a thing and MySpace was a thing as well too. So people sinking hours of their lives hoping to get viral and blow up. And here's the thing about what these social media apps like promised. Let's start with followers. What you need to understand and what I had to realize was that on my TikTok channel I had 300,000 followers. And so I thought that meant something. It doesn't mean anything. And I had to be real with myself that it didn't mean anything. I didn't have 300,000 followers. I had 300,000 people who chose to push a button one time. I say that again. I didn't have 300,000 followers. I had 300,000 people who chose to push a button one time. If I cannot or could not reach those people, they are not my followers. That's just an NFT of vanity. The number of followers that I have, that was just an NFT of vanity. It means nothing. It was meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. And that's something that I had to come to terms with and accept, because part of why I hadn't deleted it this whole time, deleted my content off of Instagram and on TikTok this whole time, because I kept thinking, well, gosh, I already put in all this work and made all this content and I have 300,000 subscribers. I don't want, it's like a sunk cost sort of issue, you know? But then I realized that also, everybody started complaining about not having views, right? Like all of a sudden, like there was a time when you'd post a video and within 20 minutes, you would have an insane amount of views. Like whether or not those are actually real people, we'll never know. Or if that was just another trick that TikTok used to get people through word of mouth to switch over from Instagram and to come to TikTok or to join TikTok. Oh my God, you can like go viral. Anybody can go viral. That's what they were doing. And I don't know if all the people that hit follow that one time were even real people, if they weren't just bots. Why am I saying that? Elon Musk bought Twitter for $40 billion. That's billion with a B. $40 billion. And then got into, like, he tried to back out of the purchase because he realized that was a waste of fucking money. The company is not a profitable company. And you're watching him now try to make the company profitable. And Twitter had been around for years. And we'd wasted our time on Twitter for years. And one of the things that he said was, this thing is filled with bots, as in like they bolstered their company to make themselves look like they had more customers or more whatever offerings than they actually had. They were bots. They weren't real users engaging in their in the platform or with their platform. And that's what he spent $40 billion on. $40 billion on. And obviously he regrets it now. And it's not even all his money. It's like investors' money. So the people who actually invested in that, I feel sorry for you. I mean, I don't feel sorry for you, because why would you spend $40 billion on Twitter? It's an app. You could have built it for less and then just literally just wasted that money on advertisement and just doing exactly what TikTok did to just drag people over. And you probably still would have had like $20 billion. Anyway, spent all that money, realized that most of the people on there weren't even like real people. Most of them were bots. One, you see that happening with a lot of these dating sites. I've had a couple of friends that are on like Bumble, Hinge, things like that, and they complain about the same thing. Like, these aren't real people. Like, they will engage with the person's talking to them, and all of a sudden, like, the person will ghost them, or the conversation just feels weird. That's happening, right? So this is a common practice with like internet companies. You need to be aware of that. You need to be aware of that, especially if you're still trying to make it big on Instagram or on TikTok. And let's once again explain, like, let's talk about what it means to make it big and how these apps are essentially gambling. It's gambling. I would have preferred to have gambled money away, because I can earn money, than my time, the way I gambled my time away. I was lucky because ultimately I didn't get caught up in this you have to post 3 videos a day trap. Thankfully, just because of my personality, just being a perfectionist for the first time in my life actually saved me, because I couldn't just put content out. Like I kept wanting to. I almost admittedly got sucked into this whole you have to keep posting stuff, but it just wasn't in me. Like I had to make sure that I took the time to research what I was talking about, and do the graphics and do everything, just because I'm a Virgo. And so thankfully, I it made it so I only had like maybe like a video a day, and then I would take a couple of days off just by force. Like it just worked out that way. So I didn't have to invest as much time, but I was still investing a considerable amount of time. But the beauty of it is that because I put the time into these videos, and I can say that I do have something to show for it in that regard, I am now able to take those videos and turn the transcripts of the videos and what I talked about into a book. But I got lucky. There are thousands of other creators who got sucked up into that, and should TikTok be banned, are just going to then have to go to Instagram and kind of do it all over again, because their content was just exclusive for that time or that day, whatever it was that they were doing. And so they can't re-upload a lot of their videos. First of all, it's too much. I have all of my videos on my little phone, like thankfully, and backed up on hard drive as well. But for them, they literally will have to start over from scratch and just hope that people will recognize them, or hope that the following that they did have, as they on both platform, can grow from there. But if TikTok will be banned, then you're going to see a place like Instagram get flooded, and it's going to be even that much harder to grow. What they're saying now is, and I'm going to come back to this, is this whole people paying for, that's the other thing, paying to be verified. We're going to see that really being exploited, where people who are paying to have a blue check mark will now start seeing their content getting pushed, which then it's not now you're paying. Now you're going to have to pay a monthly subscription to essentially create content for free, in hopes that somebody will discover you, or you'll get some sort of ad deal, or whatever it is. I honestly don't know what social media and Instagram is for anymore. I remember when TikTok first started, and like people were blowing off of there, and that would have been the time to have been on there, because we did see people really like take off from there. What their careers are now, I don't know. I can't say. Like there's a couple of people, like that one kid that ended up being like the most followed person on TikTok. And he goes like this. Yeah, remember, like I think he got like a modeling gig and a couple other things or whatever. But guys, that's what we're seeing here, is the equivalent of people on, like, in a casino gambling. And what they show you is, hey, look, these people also won, right? So that's what you're seeing, is like you hear this person just hit the jackpot, this person hit the jackpot, right? So you're seeing that, and that's what entices other people to gamble. But they're not gambling, like I said, you're not gambling with money. You're gambling with your time. You're gambling with hours of your life that you cannot get back, in the hopes that you'll get picked up to do an ad, or end up on a TV show. You could spend the same amount of time, if you really want to end up on a TV show, writing and following the steps, and then in person finding out ways to connect with and contact companies that will essentially cast you or hire you, than hoping to be discovered on social media, which is what a lot of people are hoping to do. I know this because on some pages that I would follow, I would see people, like, for example, on Jordan Peele's page, they had posted something of like a new movie that he's coming out this Christmas, I think. And a couple of people were like, oh man, I want to be in Jordan's movie. Like, Jordan, if you see this, like, put me in your movie. And I'm like, he's not looking on social media to find random people in comments to allow to be in his movie. Like, you have to audition and you have to like be SAG, like join SAG, like the Straight Screen Actors Guild. Like, you have to follow those steps in real life and audition through those avenues, not through social media. Or if you're hoping that like you're gonna blow up and people are gonna like, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what we are doing on social media if you're hoping on social media. Hopium, right? If it's to hit a bunch of followers, okay, now what? Because here's what I was saying. Even if you get 1 million followers, the next thing you post, they're not going to send your videos out to 1 million people. That's not how these apps work. They want you to pay. They want you, so they'll suppress your views after you hit a bunch of followers. They'll then suppress your views because they want you to pay to be able to reach those people. They're not your followers. That's just another like hopium, like dangle. Like you guys have to see that this is a scam, except they're like scamming you from hours of your life and your attention. Those, if you hit 100 million followers, then what? You would what, be in an ad? There's many people out there who are in ads that don't have social media, or if they do, there's not really, like, it's not super active. They're just models who followed the right, the appropriate avenues and got lucky and are now signed with agencies. Are there people who got lucky and like their profiles popped up at the right place at the right time? Yes. Is that going to be for everybody? No. Is it worth you spending hours of your life doing this? No. All it is, it's this net that traps you with hope to keep you posting. And they'll tell you, keep posting. You got to post 3 times a day. You got to post your stories. That doesn't benefit you. That's overexposure. It's benefiting them because they now have this slave that they can drive to create content, and they're paying you with hope and exposure. Exposure and hope and followers and likes don't mean anything. And they're certainly not going to pay your bills. If you cannot take those followers and those likes and convert it into something, and most of the people who are following you or liking you are people who are also hoping. If they're not creating, they're just on there consuming and wasting hours of their lives and their time. So most people out there, the majority of people who are actually that you need to put your content in front of, aren't wasting hours of their lives on social media. They're in the real world creating. Do you see how this is a scam? That's one thing. Another thing is, if you're on social media because you hope to strike it big, like that other person who struck it big, like the casinos do. Hey, look at this person who won $1 million. That's why you should give us $20,000 for the chance to be that person. If that is you, please understand that Instagram is broke. Like, the reason why they're trying to charge people, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, they're not profitable businesses. The reason why they have to nickel and dime creators is not because they're sitting on trillions of dollars like Apple. You don't see Apple talking about, hey, here's an iPhone. If you want to be able to put the Apple on the phone, you have to pay like a $3 subscription so that your phone can have a little Apple on the back of your phone. You see how that's weird? The reason why they're doing that is because they want money and they need money. I saw a post just a couple of days ago on YouTube where they're saying that Instagram has now changed their terms of service again. They're no longer pushing Reels anymore because it's too expensive for them. So they, in this rush to compete with TikTok, which, by the way, why are you desperate to compete with something else? Why don't you just focus on what you do? In their rush to compete with TikTok, they spent all of this money to once again lure people in. And now that they have people, they're saying it's too expensive. So 1, they're canceling their creator fund. 2, they're setting up essentially a gifting, which is essentially just a tipping system where if you see a video, you're going to start seeing now where it says like tip this creator. But the problem is that they're taking a cut of that. Like, that's not going to go directly to the creator. They're going to take a cut. TikTok started doing that last year. They just quietly pushed out something that like, yeah, we're not going to pay you for it to create videos, and we're going to take like, I think it was like 50% of proceeds after we take our cut of whatever bullshit fees they want to take. So once again, it's giving slavery with extra steps. This is a scam. It's a legal scam. If you're on an app trying to figure out ways to make money and the app isn't profitable, right? They say that if you look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're going to end up like them. Now, this was like, my brain said this to me yesterday as I was like sitting slowly, like, archiving my videos. My brain said to me, you spend all this time, right, creating for this app because you want to be on this app, whatever app it is. And they say that you spend the most time, like the people you spend the most time with, that's how you're going to end up. These apps are broke. Not only are they broke, but there's also a bunch of other people who are on there wasting their time. So now you're spending time with a bunch of people who are also trying to figure out how to make money, because the people out there who are actually making money aren't spending time on these apps hoping. This is what my brain said to me. This is don't feel attacked because I'm not attacking you. My brain's just a dick. That's how it talks to me. But it made me laugh, but it was one of those like really fucked up laugh, like, wow, okay. That's true. The apps are broke. They're not making any money. So if the apps themselves have to do all this stuff in order to make money, if they cannot make money, then you shouldn't be wasting time in an app that's not making money when they can't even figure out how to make money. Broke birds of a feather are flocking together. That's what my brain said. My brain's a dick. But it's true. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. The check mark. Basically, I'm going to reiterate that last point before I move on. If the internet, if these apps, if virtual reality was what they promised us it is, or is what they promised us it is, why are they needing to nickel and dime their users in order to be profitable? Snapchat, the same thing. Like, they keep trying to put out with more stuff because they're not making any money. Are there some people who, because I know some people are going to come up and actually I know somebody who, yes, there are some people who got lucky, depending on when. But there's a whole world out there where people are making money in the real world. Google Business is a thing. You can create a website, right? If you don't want to engage with people, create a website, set up a Google Business page, run ads, hit the ground, talk to people, and figure things out that way. Start small, start in your community. That's still a thing. I know quite a few people who are business owners who don't have a social media presence, and they're doing just fine. When I needed, I needed a massage this week because I fucked up my neck. I didn't go on social media looking for a massage therapist. I went online. When I finally got my nails done, I went online. I didn't go on Instagram to look for a nail salon. I went on Google because I was looking for a business. Most people that are on social media and doing this, they're just looking for something to shut their brain off and numb their minds. Free entertainment. So if you are spending thousands of dollars on a camera, hundreds of dollars on a microphone to essentially work for free to entertain people who are just trying to turn their brain off in hopes that you're going to meet the right person that's going to blow up your business instead of you blowing up your own business, you're wasting time. And I'm talking from experience. It's great. It's like 30 minutes in. There's a part of my brain that's like, wow, this is really long. I don't think anybody's going to be watching up to this part. And there's another part of me that's like, I don't give a fuck. The video's here. I'm not going to condense it to a 5-minute quick because your attention span has been fucked up for an app. I'm going to sit and I'm going to explain to you how I got to this point, and I'm not going to rush through it. I'm not going to edit it down. It is what it is. Sorry. The algorithm is bullshit. There's no algorithm that's going to determine who's going to watch your videos. Just some dickhead in his boxers pushing a button. Now you know. Google it if you don't believe me. Let's go back to the blue check mark. So the one thing that I was able to say out of everything was when I finally got verified. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, all these articles are written about me. Like, I finally got verified because I went through the process of submission, you know, all of that. And then imagine my surprise when literally, was it a month, 2 months later, you can now buy it. If that's not an insult, I don't know what is. You can now buy a verification badge. Somebody said, well, they might make the colors different. A year and a half, almost 2 years of consistently creating content to at least be able to say I'm verified and I can do something with this. I can move in certain spaces now and connect with people, right? Because that was one thing I was like, I can use this to now connect with people who might be able to help me open up doors. I'm going to be candid. That's 30 minutes in. This is a candid. I don't have anything to hide. Real talk. It is what it is. And this might help somebody. You know, so if you needed like a 30, 40-minute long video on why you shouldn't be putting your shit on content or shit and your content on social media, here I am. And now you can pay for it. $12. I spend more on takeout. Now you can pay for it. And when I saw that, I just started laughing. I was like, okay, well, cool. That was it. That was it. That was it for me. Time with my kiddo. That's another thing that's on the list. I didn't realize how much time I was spending editing videos for people with short attention spans on Instagram who somehow felt entitled to me taking my time to whittle a video down with all of this information. You guys know how much, you guys know how much information I put in a 3-minute long video, how dense that shit is. I'm literally talking about like quantum physics, parallel universes, psychology, self-help, and like a little 3-minute video. And people are just like, yeah, free me. Just free information you're giving to me. Right. It was, and then I had to not only take all that content, but also slice it up so there was no dead space. There was no ums or anything like that, so that the information could be just easily digested into your brain. Not you guys, but, you know, like random people on Instagram, because that's how you're supposed to do in order to grow your channel. My daughter was not doing well in math, and not because she didn't understand the stuff, because at the end of the day, she is my daughter, and that kid is smart as fuck. She just was not applying herself, and it just started like a couple of months ago. And in my sort of drive to do something with my content, I didn't spend as much time with her as I should have. And when we were spending time together, everybody was on some sort of gadget. She on her laptop or her phone, me on my phone editing, or my computer, my husband working as well. And though we were all in the same space, we weren't engaging with each other. And her grades started to slip. And before I made this decision, I was like, I had to have a conference with her teacher. And they were like, oh, what's going on? And I was like, it's not like she doesn't know this stuff, because when I talked to her about her work, like, she got it. In fact, she was explaining it to me. And so I said, all right, this weekend, we're going to sit and you're going to teach me math, because it's been a while since I've done algebra. So let's work through this. And I was also like a bit under the weather last Thursday. So I was like, let's work through this. I'm telling you, we had so much fun. We put on Doctor Who, and we were racing to figure out who would come up with the answers faster. And this was before, like I said, I've kind of been playing with, I thought I would be okay with, Instagram. I'd already taken my videos down from TikTok. But TikTok still had that draw on my time of, you got to at least post like 4 videos a week. And so I'd have to be thinking, well, what am I going to write? How am I going to edit this? And editing was taking so much time. Even though I'd hired people to edit stuff, I still ended up doing other edits because I'm an insane Virgo and things need to be the way I want. I'm a bit neurotic that way. But for like 2-3 days, we just worked on math and watched Doctor Who and like had snacks. And at the end of the weekend, she was like saying to my husband, like, come watch Doctor Who with us. Come sit with us. Come sit with us. This was a kid who had like just teenage angst, locked herself in her room, you know? And I just thought, well, that's just she's a teenager. And no, she's just a human being who didn't realize that she wanted a connection with her family. And she was just doing what all her other peers were doing, which is just spending time talking to her friends on an app, hunched over instead of engaging with other people. And I realized that I had failed. Hey, we're 35 minutes in. Good. I'm sure a lot of people is probably not watching this, but yeah, I realized that I had failed. I'd failed her. I thought I was working towards something that could eventually benefit her. But me just sitting here with helping her with her homework, she ended up getting 100 3 times on her math quizzes that she just like given up on. The last 2 attempts she got on her first go. These people don't allow their children on these apps, and they give it to us to have our kids on. That bothers me. That pisses me off. And I'm not blaming anybody because I had the head knowledge. It just wasn't being applied. But they know what they're doing. And I learned a lesson this weekend. Truly, I mean, I had already been on this path anyway, as you guys know. But seeing it in real life kind of play out, it was when I was like, all right, this is what I need to do. Now, when I took all my videos off of TikTok, remember I had 300,000 followers. I don't know, because I've noticed once I stopped posting videos and slowly started like removing my videos, my follower count also started going down. And I suspect that that's intentional. Like once you start seeing the numbers go down, just like when you would get close to a milestone, they would throttle down your views to keep you like going, to force you like, oh no, like, I'm almost there, to make you put out more content so you can be like, I know somebody who had millions of followers and they were still living in a FEMA camp. So once again, like if these things give you what they like promised, that wouldn't be the case. It's bullshit. But that's besides the point. 300,000 followers, and I deleted a bunch of videos, and I saw you would think that if it mattered, that if these 300,000 people mattered, that you would see my subscription count on YouTube go from like, I think it's like a 2,500 right now. You would think you'd see it go from like at least 2,500 to like 10,000. At the time when I deleted my videos off of TikTok, it went up like 100 subscribers, which, by the way, welcome guys. I'm grateful. I don't want you to think that I'm not. Thank you for coming. 300,000. If those subscribers really were mine and I posted a video saying I'm out of here, or like, hey, all of my shit is gone, if that really mattered, at the very least, I should have seen an uptick of at least 10%. Don't you think? Don't you think that would be fair? If you continuously were putting out content for those 300,000 people or 1 million people that you thought once you left they would follow you, you would at least think that at least 10% of those people, at least 1% of those people, 3,000 people would make it over to YouTube, would be like, oh, I've got to follow. Nope. There was a lesson there. And that was the freedom that I needed. I'm okay with starting over. I can at least, at the very least, when I have the time to engage with people on here, but I no longer feel obligated to keep sort of putting out content because one, the content's free. All right. So it's just me talking my shit. And now I've got the ads up or whatever, but it's just me talking my shit. I love sharing information. There's going to be more, there's going to be exclusive content that I'll put out on my website, on YouTube as well. But if I want to quit at any point in time, I'm going to. I remember, gosh, there were a couple of people who were like, oh, well, if you're not putting out content anymore, I'm going to unfollow you. You're not paying for this shit. I don't give a fuck. People are wild. Like somehow they feel like they're so obligated. Like you're not giving me the information that you just spent like hundreds of dollars learning. The amount of money I spent a month on books is ridiculous. And then I take my time to then create the content to give to people to put in a video for sure, like for free. And my life experiences, not to mention editing, things like that, I'm giving out there. And then you're like, I'm hitting a button. It's going to unfollow you. And it's like, they want your feelings to be heard. I literally don't give a fuck. At this point, what I've learned is like all of my shit, I will be watching this when I'm old. That's all that matters. I'm just making content for old Joe right now, if we're being honest. And my grandkids, if they want to watch it. That's okay. And also my community. But what I'm saying is that there was no uptick in followers to my YouTube and it's not like I was like sign up for a Patreon or something like that where I'm like, you have to pay for my content now. And I've seen quite a few followers with that, not followers, content creators where that happened too, where they're like, I spent a lot of time creating this content, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I should get paid, at the very least, like on Patreon, like follow me. And then they'll create a Patreon and like 3 people will come over because that ego will have you thinking like these things are what they are, but they're not because you don't control your followers. That's bullshit. TikTok controls your followers. YouTube controls your followers. If you don't have these people, Instagram, they control what they show people. You don't even know the people hitting their button that they could be fake. They could be bots employed by Instagram just to keep you engaged. You don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. It's the same thing. I posted yesterday on Instagram and a story where I said I'm moving to YouTube for now because I'm also going to have my own shit on my own website. It didn't reach all 22,000 people. And I don't know if it will. And so if that's the case, then what are we doing except for just being lied to? What are you chasing? Whatever it is you need to be doing, you need to be focusing on your community. In the real world, in real life. The virtual reality that they're trying to sell us as better than this actual reality that we're engaging in is on a little tiny stupid screen. It's bullshit. They don't want you buying real property. Like all of these billionaires are buying up farmland and things like that. And they're telling you to go and purchase like bullshit in a metaverse. And somehow that's the shit that they're selling you. They want you to spend your time in virtual reality, which by the way, you're doing it hunched over with your head bent down, doing this on a tiny screen that's not bigger than this. When you have all of this compared to this, you don't think that's a scam? They're trying to trick you into a glorified NFT. That's what the verified check mark is now. I read that Twitter, they want corporations to pay $1,000 a month for a verified check mark, and it's a gold star. Ooh. And I think they said like government agencies have to pay $50 a month. If you guys don't see what this is, Go do some shit in the real world. Go talk to people in the real world. Set up a business in the real world. You have Google businesses. Go do that. If you cannot afford to get a business location, there's going to be high traffic. Honestly, in this day and age, you don't need that. Use technology. Don't let technology use you. You can get a business license. You can set up a website. You can get a little office space if you feel like you need to do that. You can pay somebody on Fiverr to search engine optimize your website to make it so that when people search for whatever it is you're doing, you pop up. You can also, if you want to be on the media, the amount of time that I spent on TikTok and Instagram trying to essentially advertise my podcast, if I had a chance to do it all again, I would have just, because that was the thing, right? That was the push. Well, I could use TikTok and Instagram to advertise for your One Black Friend podcast. Most people who follow me on Instagram and TikTok don't even know I have a podcast, because every time I would try to talk about my podcast, specifically on Instagram, my videos would get, specifically on TikTok, my videos would get suppressed. Yeah. Right. A lot of people didn't know that. They don't want you sending people off the app. They don't want you talking to all of your subscribers or followers, whatever you want to call it. They just want you on there creating content and then paying for people to see, people who chose to want, that said they wanted to see your stuff. Now you have to pay to show them your stuff. That is fucked up. That's dystopian. Right now, I'm sticking to YouTube because, well, I don't have to deal with that bullshit. It's kind of easier. It's kind of straightforward until my website gets built. And I probably will still stay on YouTube. There's just going to be some things that I might want to talk about that I won't be able to talk about on YouTube in the future. But at the very least, all of my videos will be available there. But I don't have to play the song and dance. I don't have to edit shit down because of time just to get random strangers to look at something for longer than 30 seconds because their fucking attention span has been fried. If you're looking to start a movement, start in your own town. Start in your own home. Start with your own family. Start with your own self. And then from there, branch out. The analogy I used in one of my videos, I did an interview with a friend of mine from our Telegram group. Shout out to Sam, filmmaker. And we're talking about how, like, even the Buddha, a whole prince, when he sat in a tree. But before he started preaching from a tree, he kind of went door to door and just talked to people. And then he finally sat, and then people came and he talked to him. But he wasn't on social media trying to get likes for his videos and shit like that. He was just out there talking to people. That's what people did before social media. And that shit still works because however I appear on this, I promise you I'm much more effective and I'm much more impressive and I'm much more effective in real life because that's what we're supposed to be. So yeah, that's not a quick 10-minute, 5-minute video. It's like just, if you watched it this far, I got on you. You got a great attention span. I don't know if I'm gonna post this as a podcast episode or just put it on the YouTube, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I hope this was helpful. You know, I'm a big fan of putting my money where my mouth is. So a bunch of other things that I've said in videos about how, like, when you upload your content, your information onto these apps, they're using you. And they say things like, we'll own your image, your likeness, your property, your intellectual property for infinity, to infinity and fucking beyond. I cannot in good faith continue to contribute to something that I know is diminishing people's attention span, but also admitting that they will strip my mind, you know, of things that I give. They're going to try to stake, you know, claim of, ownership of. And by contributing to something, I'm also encouraging other people to do the same thing. And I can't do that. Can't do that in good faith. So here we are. That is my dissertation thesis on why I deleted my shit off of Instagram and TikTok. I didn't delete my accounts, so they're still there. If at any point in time I need to, you know, reach people, I guess I left myself a bit of flexibility. But at any point in time, and also just to keep people from impersonating me, because I have a lot of people impersonating my shit. So I didn't want to just like delete it and now people are being scammed and I'm not there. But there's a lot to think about. If you made it this far, congratulations. You have a good attention span, or you really care about what I have to say, which I guess I appreciate you, or that you found the information helpful. But I don't know. I'm actually thinking of opening up a bookstore with a friend. Add an actual physical gallery as well, and a combination of which I want to see what the real world has to offer. Come join me in the real world. Well, the real world. Thanks for watching.